Welcome back to the Late Late Show. My final guests tonight are two giants of Irish rugby. The first one is one of Ireland's greatest ever players, the winner of 2 Six Nations, 3 Heineken Cups, 4 Triple Crowns and 1 groundbreaking Grand Slam. The other has never played rugby in his life, but is the creator of the total D4 ledge bag, Ross O'Carroll Kelly. Would you please welcome Gordon Darcy and Paul Howard? I'll give you a hug. I'll give you a hug. There you go.
You deserve a hug.
You do deserve a hug, Gordon. I know you've been in there with Andy Farrell. You actually got to play with both Andy. You played against Andy and Owen. Is that right?
Yeah.
Who was the harder opponent? Is Andy gone, by the way, before we answer?
Yeah, so he's safely going for the exit. Got to play against both of them, both to play in the same, more or less the same in the positions, 10 and 12, and I have rarely been hit as hard as I have been by Owen Farrell. So unfortunately, the son hits harder than the father in this case.
Wow.
Yeah.
You played in one of the legendary games that Andy was in, the Croke Park game. I was lucky enough to be there that day. What a moment for the history of Irish rugby.
Yeah, it was incredible because obviously things didn't go particularly to script in the first match, and there was so much emotion playing in Croke Park for the first time. I think that when we played against England, it was one of those games that after the first 5 minutes, I knew we were winning. Shaggy, one of the great GAA catches above the head, but it was just one of those few matches that you knew within 5 minutes that the zone was right, the players was right, the mentality was right. Everything was right, and there was just a hunger and a desire to execute and to play and to win and to keep winning and to keep driving in that game.
And you got a little memento from that game, haven't you?
I do, yeah. I've Andy Farrell's jersey. I got to swap with them. I was quite stark, and my kids kind of look at the jerseys and the bits of things, and the size difference between his jersey and my jersey is quite stark. I think his was a triple XL.
Paul, I mean, what was it like when you played against Andy Farrell?
Yeah, it was tough.
It was tough.
It was tough, yeah. I have my puny body and my limited eyesight and my moral cowardice, so yeah, it was tough.
You guys have gotten together on this little book. Tell us a bit about this.
Well, Gordon and I have written 3 books.
3 books, yeah.
Before this, and Gordon rang me, and I got this phone call, and I saw it was Gordon ringing me, and I said I'd been taking the piss out of Gordon for probably 3 or 4 months. In the Ross O'Carroll Kelly columns and books, and I saw his number came up, and I went, I better ignore that. And so I did ignore it, and he rang back again, and he left a voice message and said, I want to talk to you about writing a book. And I thought he wanted to write a standard autobiography, and he didn't. He wanted to write your life as in the form of a children's book.
Yeah, kind of books for kind of 8 to 10, 12-year-olds. A lot of the stuff you do in professional sport is quite juvenile, so it's actually not great in an autobiography, but in a kid's book, it's pretty, it can be pretty interesting. And some of the life lessons that you do, doesn't really matter if you're 12, 18, 40, you know, they kind of just different setting, but it's the same troubles that we have. So it kind of, eventually, when he did ring me back, pitched the idea to him, and he said, great. And he told me months later that the reason he didn't answer the first time was because he thought I was asking him to write my autobiography. The bit I've never told you actually is I didn't know you wrote autobiographies.
It's a mutual appreciation society,
yes.
All right.
We found out a lot about each other when we started working these books.
The great thing about Gordon's story was you made so many mistakes which you know, I hate to embarrass you, but you did, right?
Listen, I embarrassed myself
in the early part of your career.
Yeah.
And Gordon was very young. You were still at school when you were called up by Warren Gatland to play for Ireland.
Yeah.
And you made a lot of mistakes. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. I think a lot of the processes and systems that are in professional rugby are probably based on a lot of the mistakes that I would have made.
Well, you say mistakes. I mean you put them right and went on to some incredible things.
Yeah, and like listen, you know, I had a lot of good people that gave me good advice and eventually did listen. And probably just I was very young, very immature in professional sport. You got to remember, like when I started was '98, and professional had only started in '96. So everybody was learning. We were professional in name, but still quite amateur in kind of the way we looked at it. You see, like the guys that were out here, Andy Farrell, and you know, even the ladies playing in the women's game. Like these, they're such professionals now. And Craig Casey was chatting to him beforehand. He's talking about, you know, a 5-month injury and he's taking a 2-day holiday. Like the intensity of these guys just wasn't there when I started. So there was an awful lot of freedom to make bad decisions.
Messing.
Yes.
An awful lot of messing.
Yeah.
Where does Gordon's achievements sit against Ross Carroll Kelly's achievements in the game, Paul?
They don't compare. I think Ross is the great hero here.
Absolutely.
I mean, Gordon, Gordon has, you know, he was the player of the Six Nations in 2003.
Yeah.
Do you want me to do
no,
your
I don't.
CV?
I prefer if you didn't.
And Ross did nothing whatsoever except a Leinster School Senior Cup in 1999.
But
so
you've decided to step away from the books. Are you sad to see Ross hanging up his...
I am a little bit because I've enjoyed reading the books and reading the column and chatting with Paul about the stuff that, say, doesn't even make it into them. And it's so brilliantly done and satirising what is, you know, South County Dublin, and it is done in such a brilliant, thoughtful and special way. But like anything, there's a, you know...
My big fear is that your children will read the Ross O'Carroll Kelly books one day and will say, Dad, you're mentioned in this book. And then all of those books that you don't know you're mentioned in.
But see, I'm already getting it at the moment because they're reading the other books, the Gordon's Games piece, and they're reading and they're going, did that happen? Did that happen? I reluctantly have to say yes.
Yes, it did happen.
So it's quite a lot of the quite embarrassed. Did you dye your hair blue? Yes. Why did you?
Did you wear boots?
Yes,
with South Side on them.
Yes.
Gordon, did you?
So all of these things. Anyway, but on to picture books, I think.
Maybe simply on. Before we let you go, I know that you've stepped back from the rugby books. You've swapped sort of Shane Horgan for Sharon Horgan. Have you been enjoying writing on Bad Sisters?
I've loved it. It's like I wrote for Bad Sisters. I thought I knew what hard work was until I met Sharon Horgan. And now I know it's something completely different.
She's different, really, isn't she?
I just loved working on 2 seasons of Bad Sisters. Brilliant writers, brilliant actors. Yeah, loved it.
Okay. Loved it. Before we let you go, well, we've got to tell people where we can get this. Gordon and Paul's book, Let's Play Rugby, is in shops now. And as we're celebrating 150 years of the Irish rugby, we thought that maybe someone in our studio audience might want to join in the celebrations. And thanks to our friends in Irish Rugby and the Hospitality Partnership, the IRFU's official provider of corporate hospitality, we have 2 tickets plus hospitality to a home game of your choice for this year's Autumn Nations series in November that Paul and Gordon are now going to try to win for, you may not have known this, for 2 lucky members of the audience. Let's see, do we have a Sophie Sherlock? And there's Sophie and Sam Briggs. How you doing, guys? Sam, you are a primary school teacher from Dublin. What do you teach?
I'm in an ASD classroom this year. Yeah.
I'm going to pretend I know exactly what that is.
Working with children with autism.
Okay, and what did you do with your day off today?
Thinking, I should have been in school, yeah.
Okay.
What can you do?
It's all good. You're a big rugby supporter?
I am indeed, yeah.
Alrighty. Sophie, you're also a big rugby supporter, would that be right?
Huge, absolutely.
Okay, we have a teacher and you're a final year student.
Yeah,
Where are you from?
from me.
Okay. So how would both of you like to maybe win some rugby tickets? Does that sound good?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay. I know you're rugby fans, so to win the tickets, guys, it's very, very simple. We're going to go and play a little game of head-to-head. It's very simply called Play Are Your Cards Right? So here we go. We have, it's dead simple.
This is us.
This is down. No, literally, this is happening, Paul. This is down to you and to Gordon to see whether these guys are going to win. You got to take this seriously. Okay, only one person.
Who are we letting down?
Oh, well, who are you letting
The
down?
short straw with me.
Paul, you're going to be playing with Sophie.
Sophie.
There we go. Paul, Gordon, you're paired with Sam.
Apologise ahead of time.
So here we go.
Condolences.
Gordon and Sophie, you are up first. So here we go. First up, we're going to start you with Craig Casey. There he is, 18 caps. That's your start card. Our next player is Rob Carney. All you have to do is tell us higher or lower whether Rob has more or less caps than Craig Casey. There we go. Rob Carney, what do we think?
Rob. Higher.
You're going higher? You think higher? What do we think? Do we think higher? Higher for that? Okay, we're going higher for that. Higher is the correct answer. Next up, we have the legend Willie John McBride. Willie John McBride, higher or lower in caps than Rob Carney? What do we think?
Lower.
You're going lower? Oh, some people are thinking higher. What are you going? You're going?
I'm going to go lower.
You're going to go lower? Lower is the correct answer. Next up, we have Johnny Sexton. Johnny Sexton, higher or lower than Willie John McBride?
Higher!
You're going higher?
Higher.
Okay, higher or lower. No, this is his game. You're playing against him.
Okay.
You're playing against him. You were right to go higher, and your final card, Johnny Sexton, was 118 caps, and finally, Cian Healy.
Higher.
You're going higher? You're going higher?
Hi, church.
Okay, you were right to go higher. 134 for Cian Healy. There we go. So, you got 4. Paul and Sam.
100%.
Paul and Sam, no
Okay,
pressure
here we
here,
go.
but you got to
Here we
go
go.
all the way
Sam.
with this. First up, we're going to give you Ireland legend Lynn Cantwell,
Okay.
86 caps. That's
Yeah.
the one to start with. Next, we have Caelan Doris. Higher or lower?
Lower.
You're definitely going lower?
Lower.
Are you going lower? You'd be right to go lower. 49 caps. Next up, we have Ronan O'Gara.
Higher.
You're going higher. That is correct. 128 caps. Think carefully about this one.
Okay.
Rory Best. Higher or lower? What do we think? Higher or lower?
Higher.
You're going lower. You're going higher.
You meant lower.
I meant
You
lower.
going- you meant-
it's a language.
You meant
It's a language thing. I meant lower.
you meant lower. 124 caps, and finally, Brian O'Driscoll.
Higher.
You're going higher.
I'm gonna go higher.
is correct. 133. There we go. Wow. Sam. Sophie, I have no idea what we're going to do. We have a draw here, and I'm just hearing from. We've just gone to the TMO, and the TMO says that because it's a big birthday for the IRFU, Patrick, you can actually award the prize to both players. There we go. 2 sets of tickets. Well played. 2 hospitalities to a home game of your choice for this year's autumn series for each of you. Give them a round of applause again. Congrats to Sophie. Congrats to Sam. I give it up one more time for Gordon and for Paul.